Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Florence, Munai, and Johnny from TESL 2. The title of my study is TESL Pre-Service Teachers Perception on Simulated Teaching as a Teacher Training Pedagogy in Institute of Teacher Education. Dr. Razali is my campus. Without further ado, I would like to explain the background of the study. In 2014, Rainer and Flack highlighted that simulated teaching offers more experiential and rich learning opportunities, which put pre-service teachers in a controlled scenario. This will help pre-service teachers to train and reveal actions that they should do in the reality of teaching later. There are core subjects of TESL that implement simulated teaching in lectures and coursework. Among the subjects are teaching of listening and speaking skills, teaching of reading and writing, and teaching of grammar, all in the primary ESL classrooms. And as can be seen in the next point, simulated teaching was listed by Pusat Pembangunan Akademik in 2017 as one of the focuses in the subjects mentioned. Right, let's move on to the problem statement. In 2006, Darling Hammond pointed out pre-service teachers have no content mastery and failed to identify the effective teaching methods during practicums. Therefore, this study is drawn towards the investigation of whether or not the simulated teaching conducted are beneficial and helpful for practicum preparation and the teaching profession itself. In Malaysia, there were a few researches conducted based on simulated teaching at higher institution level. However, they are yet to produce one on the perception of simulated teaching among TESL pre-service teachers in Malaysian ITEs. So due to all problems we pointed, this study aims to bridge the gap between simulated teaching and teacher training pedagogy. So now we come to the purpose of this study. The purpose is twofold. Firstly, it aims to increase the understanding about the perceptions on simulated teaching among TESL pre-service teachers. Next, it also strives to prove simulated teaching as one of the pragmatic tools in teacher training courses. Thus, it is important that first thing first, feedbacks are collected. Next, the research objective. There are three objectives to be applied. The first is to determine TESL pre-service teachers' beliefs on simulated teaching. The second is to examine TESL pre-service teachers' attitudes towards simulated teaching. And finally, to examine TESL pre-service teachers' responses towards simulated teaching. So now we come to the next point, which is research questions. And as you can see, there are three. The first one is, what are the TESL pre-service teachers' beliefs on simulated teaching? Secondly, what are the TESL pre-service teachers' attitudes towards simulated teaching? And lastly, what are the TESL pre-service teachers' responses towards simulated teaching? I would now like to change direction and talk about the significance of the research. This study is vital for Ministry of Education, MOE, as it could strengthen the implementation of simulated teaching in the teacher training courses. It would have to encourage MOE for reviewing the existing guidelines, assessment guidelines for simulated teaching, and its policy of implementation in the courses offered. The results of review will be able to notify the pre-service teachers whether the current performance of knowledge and skills application is aligned to the goals of simulated teaching. This review can be assisted through the feedbacks collected. Moreover, as asserted by Huxham et al. In 2008, perception is an efficient way to meet the individual needs. So by carrying out this study, it is hoped that IT educators will notice the prominence of simulated teaching in preparing pre-service teachers for teaching practices. And here I have gathered 6 prominent related past researchers. In 2014, Presnila Espada came up with an exploratory study on simulated teaching. The respondents admitted that early training like simulated teaching would elevate their teaching competence. In 2007, Santagata et al., on the other hand, debated that pre-service teachers should be introduced to the complexities of real environment. The researchers implied that providing exposures through simulated teaching alone is not enough to give insights on what challenges the real world has to offer. On the contrary, Gray 2002 argued that the natural world is too complex to provide the information needed to make headway to the problem. Meanwhile, Bell 5 years later reported that some participants described simulated teaching as a fake teaching that leads to awkward fake attitude. In another research conducted in Taiwan, Chen 2014 concluded that simulated teaching encouraged English pre-service teachers to cultivate understanding of the topic, how to deliver the topic, and how to control the classroom. Meanwhile, Joyce and Showers in 2002 had proven that lesson demonstration is not the best teacher training method for pre-service teachers to show knowledge and demonstrate the skill and to use the skill in the classroom. So based on these three contributions, coaching method remained plateau at the highest point, while lesson demonstration or method teaching constantly hits a low. Okay, that completes the past researches. Next, the research design. This study incorporated quantitative research design. The design is utilized to locate the prevalence of the result of concern for the population or subgroups within the TESL population at a moment in time. And as you can see in the slide, the population for this study is 264 TESL Pre-Service teachers from Ite Kdri. It is consisted of 4 cohorts of PICMP and of course 1 PICMP cohort. Meanwhile, the samples are 67 pre-service teachers from 2 cohorts of the population. The 2 cohorts taken are PSMP Semester 6 June 2017 and PICMP Semester 8 June 2016. They were chosen based on purpose sampling. The quality aim is their experiences in simulated teaching, especially for at least 2 of the subjects mentioned in the earlier part of the presentation just now. Now, I want to describe the instrument for data collection. In collecting data of students' perceptions, Brennan and Williams 2004 mentioned that survey predominates as it is by far the most commonly used mechanism. Therefore, a questionnaire was used as the main instrument in the survey method. The questionnaire, which is adapted from a questionnaire, as you can see, developed by Personnel Espada in 2014, it is comprised of 4 sections, whereby Section A is respondents' demography, Section B, beliefs on simulated teaching, Section C, attitudes towards simulated teaching, and Section D, responses towards simulated teaching. Overall, there are 23 items in the questionnaire. Now, let's take a look at the research procedures. After proposing and discussing with my lecturer about the research proposal, I gained a formal approval to conduct the research. Before conducting the main survey, I carried out a pilot testing in Sultan Mizan for reliability checks. According to Najib Ghaffar in 2003, the reliability of items is high if its index reliability is over 0.8. So based on the pilot study administered on 10 pilot samples in ITE Sultan Mizan, the reliability of the survey questionnaire is 0.810. This implies that it has a high reliability and is ready to be used to collect data for the main scale of study in Ite Kdri. And then I proceeded to distribute the questionnaires to main respondents in Ite Kdri. So after confirming the high reliability, which is 0.808, the data was analyzed and interpreted using SPSS version 20. And the last procedure was to write a report writing based on the analysis. And this is the data collection procedures. So after receiving the letter of permission to conduct the research in the institute, I contacted each unit representative. The contact with 4 unit representatives were made to arrange a briefing with each unit during the free period. So after the briefings, sets of questionnaire were distributed to each respondent through the unit representative. The process of gathering all sets of questionnaire occurred on the same day until 2 days later, which means it took around 3 days. As for data analysis procedures, after ensuring that all sets of questionnaire had been collected, the internal consistency of the data were analyzed for reliability check. As mentioned before, the index was 0.808. Then I proceeded to find information on the statistic descriptive analysis from past researchers that is suitable to describe the data obtained. Before analyzing the data, the items were classified according to the sections and research questions. Then the data were analyzed and interpreted using SPSS version 20. Now have a look at the conceptual framework in the slide. I will explain this part briefly. As can be seen in the upper left-hand corner, you can see that this research is generated by understanding the functions of simulated teaching. This understanding determines the conditions in which simulated teaching functions that influences 3 theories proposed, namely model-centered instruction, embodied cognition, and learning transfer. So these 3 theories will result in attitudes, responses, and belief. And these 3 characteristics are composed of experiences, challenges, and situations in simulated teaching. Now, let's draw our attention to the table shown. When the descriptive statistic of variables in the answers are examined, the table shown emerges. These findings were able to answer all research questions posed. The dispersion of their perception reveals that their beliefs on simulated teaching is medium level with mean value of 2.8582 and standard deviation of 0.42966. Meanwhile, the attitudes towards simulated teaching is medium level with mean value of 2.6244 and standard deviation of 0.59057. And the responses towards simulated teaching is low level with mean value of 2.2239 and standard deviation of 0.52106. So the overall data findings discovered that the TESL Pre-Service Teachers Perception on simulated teaching based on their belief, attitudes, and responses in the context of Ite Kdri is at medium level with mean value of 2.5978 and standard deviation of 0.41918. This shows that more than 50% of the respondents from the two cohorts gave positive perception and agreed with the items posed in the questionnaire. The findings bring us to the following discussions in the slide. One of the findings showed similarity with Chien's 2014 finding for whereby 90.5% of Taiwan pre-service teachers approve that they can determine their strengths and weaknesses through simulated teaching. Similarly, in the survey, the statement simulated teaching enhances strengths and overcomes weaknesses recorded the highest in percentage, frequency, and mean value. Next, Bell 2007 argued that the confidence of pre-service teachers decreases after simulated teaching session. However, the analysis for the statement simulated teaching boosts morale and self-esteem in the current survey resulted the highest in the total percentage for agreed and strongly agreed. So this high percentage proved that majority of the respondents' belief is contradicted with Bell's argument. Next, in a research undertook by Personal Espada in 2014, the respondents admitted that simulated teaching develops their competence. Similarly, the current study, which took place in Ite Kdri, brought about a slightly higher mean value for the same statement. As mentioned earlier, Joyce and Showers 2002 had proven that lesson demonstration is not the best or effective teaching method. So, contradicted to the claim, the statement I was able to apply knowledge and skills in teaching in the current survey results in a high mean value, implying that respondents were actually able to transfer knowledge and skills learned theoretically in lectures into the simulations. Next, I am going to use the findings from each section that supports the incorporation of the three theories suggested in Conceptual Framework. So the findings for the statement, I sense that I don't have the ability to teach, and the statement, I am doubtful about my teaching competence in teaching, are recorded to have higher percentage in disagreement compared to other scores. So the findings prove the involvement of embodied cognition theory by Hinton 2014 in simulated teaching. Based on this analysis, the respondents were able to show potential actions controlled by the physical body during simulated teaching, which are closely linked to the whole meaningful cognition process. Next, I would like to relate one of my findings with Thorndike and Woodworth learning transfer theory. In learning transfer, individuals tend to improve themselves in the sequence of see, feel, change. So along with this remark, majority of the respondents strongly agreed with the statements simulated teaching enhance strengths and overcomes weaknesses. This shows that after conducting simulated teaching sessions, strengths and weaknesses can be determined, which led to further changes in the form of development in the next sessions. Finally, we move on to the model-centered instruction theory by Gibbons. Based on this theory, models are presented for teachers as the representations or the substitute for real classroom settings in order to allow knowledge construction. So when learners analyze information based on interactions and their point of view, their knowledge is being built. Therefore, the statement, I feel it's impossible to think and act like a teacher with low mean value of 1.93 acknowledge the highlights mentioned by past researchers just now. As interactions took place during the session, the respondents analyzed information which allowed them to think and act like a teacher. Therefore, in brief, simulated teaching is an appropriate and effective teacher training pedagogy as there are positive beliefs, attitudes, and responses towards simulated teaching shown by the respondents. Before ending the presentation, I would like to highlight the implications of the survey. Firstly is to put a strong emphasis on self-reflection upon teaching methods and behavior. This implication is important to curb deterioration of interest or attention among pupils. Pre-service teachers must make some discernment as to how they can shift pupils' attention back to the lesson again. The findings also led to the implication that stresses the necessity of meddling in the interaction between the training program and the pre-service teachers. This implication shouldn't be neglected because the system of teacher training program that puts pressure on pre-service teachers may contribute in worsening their productivity, interaction performance with pupils, and also their pupils' wills to learn. Finally, the study has proposed two corresponding recommendations. As pre-service teachers need to reflect their teaching methods and behavior, this study recommends the use of simulated teaching portfolio to track their own progress in simulated teaching. Hence, the evidence of insightful observations and reflective teaching along the implementation are to be kept for guidance and reference. In relation to the necessity to meddle in interaction, this study recommends a longitudinal study on the factors causing pressure to pre-service teachers when it comes to teaching experiences, so that proper coping mechanisms could be produced. Similar as schools for pupils, teacher education institutes call for positive learning climate in order to promote positive emotions, positive psychological, and positive social functioning to pre-service teachers. Okay, well, I have covered the points that I needed to present today. With that, I end my presentation on the survey of TESL Pre-Service Teachers Perception on Simulated Teaching as a Teacher Training Pedagogy in Institute of Teacher Education that resides in my campus. With that, I thank you for your attention.